the new lesson, and our today's discussion is Notes on Shakespeare. We all know that Shakespeare is considered as one of the greatest writer, not only in the British English literature, but also in all the literature. He is one of the greatest writer, especially dramatist and poet. So let us discuss first his quartos and folios. So Shakespeare plays where first we will discuss about his plays and then comedies and tragedy. So Shakespeare's play were not published in the usual way as the plays of the dramatists were published later, because at that time printing was not so popular. In during the time of Shakespeare, manuscript of the play was usually sold to the companies which performed it and became the company's property. So at that time there was no such issue of copyright, and the dramatist used to sell it to the company. The company did not allow the play to be printed, for they did not want publication to affect the size of theater audience. So this was very specific for that time. But sometimes the company would sell the play to a printer, also an actor interested in its performance elsewhere, or an enterprising playgoer might make up a copy of it from hearing or memory. So in those days, the memory of the people were very good, not like these days. The earliest edition of some of Shakespeare's most popular play are such pirated editions. So uh, not all plays of Shakespeare are in original form, as the plays of Shakespeare were published in quartos, which means a sheet of paper roughly 9 into 6.5. And folded twice to make 4 leaves. So this was the size of the paper, and it was folded twice so that it should be in 4 leaves. So they are called, so this type of paper were called as quartos, and in this the dramas were published. Their texts were, however, very inaccurate, since they have been jotted down from hearing or memory. It therefore became necessary for Shakespeare's own company to publish the correct version of the play from their own record. As these were also published in quarto size, they are also called as quartos. So Shakespeare's plays were in those days called as quartos. But while the pirated edition are called bad quartos, the regular ones are called as good quartos. So they were good quartos and bad quartos. Those who were pirated edition, they were called as bad quartos, and those who were the regular ones were called as good quartos. But the fact is that even the good quartos were not free from inaccuracy, because their texts were not always those supplied by Shakespeare, but those amended by the company to suit the need of the stage or the audience. So lots of amendment were done at that time to suit the audience as per the need of the audiences. They are also inaccurate because the art of printing was in early stage. Printing was not very much popular in those days, and printing was not much developed, because the art of printing was in the early stage, and Shakespeare does not appear to have read or revised the proof of his plays. See, now we consider Shakespeare as one of the greatest writer, but Shakespeare has himself not read or revised or read of his own plays. So the remaining plays of Shakespeare were published for the first time in 1623, 7 years after Shakespeare death. So after Shakespeare death after 7 years of Shakespeare death, his plays were published posthumously in the size called folio. Now folio is a sheet of paper roughly 13 into 9 in folded one to make 2 leaves. So earlier it was quartos in 4 leaves. Now it was folio in 2 leaves. So they were published by two of his admirer and fellow actor, Henry Condell and John Hammingey. So the credit goes to these two friend and fellow actors of Shakespeare, Henry Condell and John Hammingey, to popularize Shakespeare dramas after his death. If they were not published posthumously by these two actors and friends, then he might be not as famous as he is famous today. So to keep the memory of so worthy a friend and fellow alive, they have done this as a tribute to Shakespeare, and they have done a very good job indeed, because that is for the betterment of not only for the literature but also as for we as a reader. Of English literature, or we as a scholar of English literature. So this volume was of 36 play, including the 19 play published earlier in various quarto editions. So in this 36 plays, or some 19 play were published in by by the company in quarto edition. The play excluded from both the quarto and folio edition were Pericles, which is only partly Shakespeare. So it was not completely by Shakespeare. So a second folio was published in 1632 and the third in 1663. So the first folio of Shakespeare, which was published posthumously was in 1623, and the second in 1632, and the third in 1663, and the fourth in 1685. So they were in 4 folios, but they are more or less reprint of the first folio of 1623. So all these, whether they were published in 1632, 63 or 85, they were just the reprint of first folio of 1623. So in a few cases, the text of the quartos is preferred to that of the folio, but otherwise the text of the folio is more reliable version. In some cases, however, neither version of a word, phrase, or sentence in a play is considered satisfactory, as scholars have made their own amendment. When anybody interpret or edit work of any writer, they also add some of their own element in it, some of their thinking views, or as per their own thinking. So now let us classify Shakespeare play. Classification of Shakespeare's play. Shakespeare's 37 play can be conveniently divided into 5 groups: comedies, tragedies, tragicomedies, tragicomedies were also romances, history plays, and Roman plays. Of the comedies, the more important are The Two Gentlemen of Verona, Love, Labour, Lost, A Midsummer Night Dreams, As You Like It, Twelfth Night, Much Ado About Nothing, All Well That Ends Well, The Merchant of Venice, Measure for Measure, The Taming of the Shrew, and The Merry Wives of Windsor. They can be classified as purely romantic. The first 5 were romantic play, like The Two Gentlemen of Verona, Love, Labour, Lost, A Midsummer Night Dream, As You Like It, Twelfth Night, and others were serious plays like Much Ado About Nothing, All Well That Ends Well, The Merchant of Venice, Measure for Measure. And the two were realistic or farcical play, The Taming of the Shrew and The Merry Wife of Windsor. So among the tragedies, 5 stand out about the rest. So he has 5 great tragedies: Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, Macbeth, and Romeo and Juliet. The romances belong to the last period of Shakespeare's career and are 3 in number: Cymbeline, The Tempest, and The Windsor Tale. The more important history are Richard II, Richard III, and the 2 parts of Henry IV, Henry V, and Henry VIII. The great Roman plays are 3 in number, and they are Julius Caesar, Antony and Cleopatra, and Coriolanus. With the lesser plays, we need not concern ourselves because they are not as famous as others. So after a little break, I will be taking up Shakespeare and comedy. I hope the classification and other detail have been understood by all. Thank you.